have now.
That's very wrong.
You're right, they're very wrong. I think see rainbow, yeah.
Even the rainbow they claim it as theirs now. So there's a number of things the enemy have taken from us, and we are going into scripture because you know what? There's some things that Father give us to empower us that we have let go to the enemy. But I could name a number of other things, right? But I'm gonna turn over to my sisters here. I know I have some things to say as well, so them get the things downloaded on the computer so that everybody can get an image. Because when it comes to certain things, people just want to stay far. But when you go into the scripture and see what the Father said, we will look at it differently. Now, I'm going to turn over. Now, we introduced this for the Sabbath sessions, right? Because they know the Sabbath sessions can handle this.
That's alright, it's true.
I'm saying it, they're recording, but I know that we are more open-minded. We ask questions. It's a session that is open for anyone. If you have a question, you know, if something, this is a session that you can put up your hand and ask a question. This is a session that if you feel something about it, you can put up there and ask. Alright? Don't feel that we put you in a box and you have to swallow everything that is said. If you are unsure about something, ask about it. But we are going into this, and it's a very serious subject. It is hard food. It is not milk. So you have to prepare to eat some hard food. So sharpen the incisors and the canines and the molars and premolars to chew. And if you haven't got the teeth in your mouth, make sure you put in some false teeth. Because this is hard food. This ain't nothing to drink. Alright? Over to you all.
Y'all can hear me? Everybody can hear me, right? Yeah. You're not hearing me? In the back?
Where's the mic?
Amen. This is good? Okay. Now, Shalana and I were supposed to be compiling this study plan together. And then when we finally decided to do it yesterday, all sorts of different things kept coming up. So all 3 o'clock this morning, I was up just trying to get these things together and my computer what I wanted to do. So if you all see anything spelled wrong, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. Okay. I would like to start off this by reading from 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15. And it says, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to study and we're going to rightly divide the word of truth.
Please take notes if you need to. This is a session that you would want to take notes. Most likely we put the recording on the Mission House channel as well for, you know, repetitive reviewing.
Mark, you can put up the first slide. Next one. Who can tell me what this is? Anybody? Or what do you know it to be? All Sinai. Anything else? Right? It has something to do with witchcraft.
1, 2.
Hello. Right, and it has, every time we see this, we know it's associated with witchcraft. When we look at Jay-Z, some of his lines have this particular print on it. Any other name other than the all-seeing eye? Right, it has to do a lot with Egyptology or the eye of Horus and all those things. So to speak. So just bear in mind that this here came from Egypt, and a lot of the pop artists and even some of the well-known pastors are into Egyptology, and they do accept a lot of the things that come out of Egypt. Go ahead, Mark. Next. And I've been seeing this particular picture since I was a teenager. So I came up believing that it is an evil thing. Now, here it is again. And I have the brain on top of it. Because that same picture we saw before. Can you all hear me? Yes. Okay. That same picture we saw before, which you can see the smaller image of it down bottom. When you look to the right, that is a picture of our brain. The eye of Horus that we know to be so evil and so wicked, they took it and made it into something filthy and dirty, but every one of us sitting here this morning have this image in our brain. This is how we were created. This is how we were created. So they took the design. I wish I could go. Okay. So this is a picture of right. This is a picture here of the brain.
Don't raise it out. Don't raise it out.
Right. This is a picture of the brain, really, and you see it's basically the same thing. It has the tail here. The tail is here. There's a groove here. The groove is here. So this eye of Horus was actually taken from what God has designed. God has designed. If you go and go into any biology books, go and look up the structure of the brain, how it is built, how it is formed. This is how we are all created. So they took it, which is what Satan does anyway. Anything that God does, he takes it and makes it into something ridiculous. And you can even see it in this image here as well. This little pea-size, I don't know if y'all can see, it's a pea-size thing here. It's called a pineal gland. This is the thalamus and the pineal gland, right here. The pineal gland is what they use to astral project, to go into the spiritual realm, to speak to demonic entities, to give information to demons, to receive information from demons. This gland God created for his purpose only. It serves for physical things and spiritual things as well. It is very, very important because without this, if anything is wrong with this gland, we will have problems with our natural vision. It's located in the center between the two hemispheres of the brain. And if anything, when light comes through the eyes, it goes to that pineal gland in the back. Well, I don't want to go too in depth in the biology of it, but then it reflects back out and we are able to see however we see right now. But that's not the only, it's not just for natural vision. Next, and this is another picture of it. Here it is, a well-known one. This is with all the hieroglyphics and stuff from Egypt. And the pineal gland is located somewhere around this area as well. So they utilize the pineal gland along with the thalamus as well. They do deep meditation, which allows them to go into the astral plane and meet demonic spirits. But again, I want to make sure I say it again, all of us sitting here this morning have one of this created because this is how God created us. This is a part of our brain. It's a part of our brain. Next. Okay. What is the pineal gland? The pineal gland is an The pineal gland is an endocrine gland located in the epithalamus near the center of the human brain between two hemispheres. It resembles a pine cone in appearance. Cone in appearance. Yes. Next slide. This is, hold on a minute, this is what a pine cone looks like. So the pineal gland, even though it's pea-sized, it resembles this. There are rods sticking out of the pineal gland similar to this. Yes, ma'am?
I just want to know what does endocrine mean.
Endocrine is a secretive system. Any gland, when you hear the word endocrine, it means it secretes. So the thyroid gland secretes thyroid in this area. Okay. The pineal gland secretes hormones, but we will get to the hormones that the pineal gland secretes. Any other questions? I can go on. We're good? Next.
Anybody scared yet? Okay, let's check.
Okay. Now, this is the Vatican, and this cone shape, pine cone shape, is actually a representation of the pineal gland. And they have it at the Vatican. What? You can see it here again. What? So they think they can make their own thing with it, but they know, the witches and the Satanists know, they understand the importance of the gland. We are the only ones that don't, because oh, that's witchcraft. But then that was how Satan intended for it to be. He never wanted God's people to understand who they were, who they are, and how our bodies are made up, because then we will understand the importance of what structures God has in our body and our system. Next. The main function is to produce, the main functions of the pineal gland is to produce or secrete melatonin and serotonin. The role of the pineal gland is very important for establishing the so-called day-night cycle. So the pineal gland is responsible for keeping you asleep at night and waking you up in the morning. Melatonin is responsible for keeping us asleep at night, and serotonin is responsible for keeping us awake during the day. So it regulates the sleep pattern. Next. Other functions of the pineal gland, these are just some brief functions that I have here. It helps with the immune system, fertility, growth and development, body temperature, reproductive function, sex hormones, motor activities. It suppresses cancer and tumor, and helps with the body. And the calcium can actually be seen through X-rays, magnetic resonance imaging, which is also known as MRI. Some studies have shown that patients with Alzheimer's have a higher level of calcium to the pineal gland. Signs and symptoms of having a highly calcified pineal gland: headaches, migraines, and disrupted sleep pattern. Because remember earlier I said it secretes melatonin, which keeps you asleep at night or helps you to sleep at night. So if it is highly calcified, that melatonin is not secreting out of the gland throughout the body as it should, because there's something blocking it. So sometimes you find you can't sleep, you toss and you turn, you don't know why. You don't know why. And sometimes this could be one of the causes. Pineal cyst is another rare condition that can affect the gland. This can be detected also through MRI and CT scan, and it's basically the same as the calcification. If anything is wrong with that gland, you have issues with vision and you have issues sleeping at night. Signs and symptoms with the pineal cyst: headaches, migraine, problems with movements of the eye, vertigo. For those of you who don't know, that's when you're standing and you can see everything spinning in a room. That's vertigo. Difficulties moving, disruptive sleep patterns, secondary Parkinson's, sometimes epilepsy. Another disorder related to the pineal gland is the alteration in sleeping pattern known as insomnia. So sometimes you find you're up, you can't sleep at all, nice on end, you just can't sleep. And sometimes the gland, it could be stress too, but I'm saying sometimes that gland can be affected to the point where you are missing out on proper rest. Interventions to help cater to you not being able to sleep. Sleep in darkness. The pineal gland secretes melatonin more efficiently in darkness when you go to bed at night. Sleep in the absence of light. In the evening, melatonin level begins to rise, so it prepares the body for sleep. At nighttime, melatonin level peaks for sleep, and at morning time, melatonin declines to prepare for waking. And this is where serotonin kicks in to keep you awake during the day. So those are the two main hormones that the pineal gland secretes. Change in diet can also help with that. A healthier lifestyle, and just not around food. And just to let you all know, and this is from experience, the left, and when I say left, I mean the Satanists, witchcraft, whoever. They purposely tamper with our food so that we cannot focus, so we cannot think properly, so we cannot be intuitive to a lot of things that is going on around us. They bleached out our flour, they bleached out our rice. Sugar is a cancer-causing agent. Pork and chicken, I know that's allowed among most of us. But I just want to say that even if you want to eat chicken, do it in small doses. Some of us can't eat food without chicken. And chicken is very alkaline. Acidic. Chicken is very acidic to the body. Pork is very acidic to the body. Soft drinks, very acidic to the body. Start planting your own garden if possible. Alcohol, please have it in moderation, and have caffeine in moderation as well, because all of these here affects the gland and causes calcium deposits to grow on the gland.
Well,
just a quick note for the coffee lovers. The coffee actually slows down or helps to prevent the production of melatonin. So that's why it can be very dangerous. They've done quite a bit of research on it, and people that drink, there are people that cannot go through the day without drinking 3 or more cups of coffee just so they can get through the work day, the stress of workload, whatever the case may be. But it actually then backfires and would prevent the pineal gland from naturally producing one of the main hormones that it's supposed to produce.
That's when some people can't even go to court.
Hey, don't forget, man. Don't forget.
Right, I mentioned, right, and cool, yeah, soft drinks. All that is in soft drinks, very acidic. Also, you know what is so surprising to me? As Christian people, you know, as we take care of our spiritual body, we're supposed to take care of the physical body as well. And as I started to do this research, I realized that the witches and the Satanists, or the New Agers, they eat well. They eat well in order to astral project. They eat well, they come off of chicken, they eat a lot of plant-based foods because they understand the purpose of eating healthy. So how much more God's children who understands the purpose of eating healthy so that he can reach us through fasting, through prayer? Because I'm not encouraging anybody to astral project, but I'm just saying, as you begin to clean up yourself all around, you have a better chance. The pineal gland was created, it's like a doorway for you, between you and God. He created that for his purpose. That is one of the things that he uses to connect to his people. And the left, they understood, they noticed the Egyptians, they knew what this was for. So what they did was utilize that gland to connect to demonic spirits so that they can see into the spiritual realm to speak with demons. Eat foods that are high in melatonin, such as bananas, morello cherries, porridge, oats, sweet corn, rice, preferably brown rice or black rice, ginger, barley, tomatoes, radish. Eating these at night may help boost natural melatonin levels. Ginger tea is a great way to produce melatonin naturally. There was a time in my life where I had issues sleeping, but I only understand it now. I was given a bottle of melatonin, not really understanding what melatonin was for. However, if you use melatonin, if you begin to depend on that, the medication, sometimes your own body will not produce it naturally. So try to do things for your body to, you know, do what it is supposed to do, what it was designed to do naturally, as opposed to depending on chemicals and medication. Healthy choices, plant-based diets and alkaline foods, ground provisions, vegetables, peas, beans, quinoa, which is very high in protein, pistachio, as I said before, brown rice, put away the bleached flour, have some spelt flour, and you also have some vitamins for all the other health flours, for shears and that kind of thing. Raisins, very high in alkaline as well, and avocado. Please take a look at Dr. Sebi's alkaline food list on YouTube or Google. He gives an in-depth list of the things that you should use so that your body can come into an alkaline state, because our body is naturally supposed to be alkaline. But as Tammy was saying to me, you know, we wake up in the morning, we may have tea, we have sugar in the tea. Sugar is very acidic, and as I said before, cancer causing. So that's what you already start your morning with, acidity. Then at lunchtime, macaroni pie, it's chicken, it's soft drink, more acidity. And you're drinking more sweet than water, more acidity. Then at night, you have a cup of tea, you might eat a hamburger, you might go by shipping and buy fast food, more acidity in your system. So your body is not, your body don't have that chance to kind of recuperate from the first set of acid you put in it in the morning. Because the entire day is just acid right through. From doing this research, what I realized is when we try to talk to our own Christian brothers and sisters about diet and about certain things, some of us like, man, you can't stop me from eating my pork. Man, I can't eat chicken. I can't eat food without chicken. I can't do this, I can't do that. But it's so amazing to me how the unsaved or the left have more discipline in their diet to meet with their demons. And we don't have discipline in our diet. In our own diet. We don't even have discipline when it comes to fasting. So we really need to check ourselves because, as I said, this land is so much bigger than we think. It is very important to our spiritual life because as we begin to clean up, and just before I move on to Cheryl quickly, this is just from my experience. Tammy has been on a healthy diet for as long as I could. I don't even think it's a diet anymore, it's more like a lifestyle. So I decided to try it, just to see, what would happen, just experiment. And I'm so happy. I've been trying to lose weight for so long. And no matter how I try, I may lose a pound or two, and then I may end up gaining 3 or 4. But I cut out all of the flour. Don't eat meat. Occasionally now, recently here, I would try fish. I do not drink soft drink anymore. It is water. I squeeze lime in the water almost every day. I boil the water, let it sit for 12 minutes. You can see all the chlorine, 12 hours, sorry. All the calcium or whatever, it sinks to the bottom of the pot, then I strain it off. And I add lime to that water. And the longer you leave the lime in the water, I think it turns the water alkaline, which is what we want anyway. I've lost 30 pounds. And I am very, very excited. I have a lot of energy. And something really interesting happened to me the other morning since I started this. I had a dream. I don't even know if it was a dream because I wasn't really sleeping, but really I can't even tell what a vision is or what a dream is with me because I think I just was in a doze and in this dream Yasha was by my house. We left to go somewhere and I was like, Yasha, what's going on? How are you doing? He was like, nothing man, this headache, I don't know what to do about this headache. It just got me good. And I say, you been listening to the music that I sent you to listen to? He said, yeah man, but the headache is so bad. I said, okay, now we going down the road talking about this headache. And then Gabriel called and I woke up out of it. So I said, I started to feel strange. I said, but this is so strange. I don't think, boy, yeah, sure. Sometimes you think about somebody, you dream about them. So I called Yasha like 5:30 in the morning, minutes to 6. He didn't answer, so I said, you know what, it's too early. When I got into QEH yard, Yasha called me back. So I was gonna ask him, you have any headaches or anything? But instead of asking that, I said, Yasha, what are you doing, man? Yeah, nothing, man, I got a headache. My head hurts really bad. I was so amazed. He talking and my mouth open big in the car, and I was like, oh my God. To be like, actually something happened and it happened instantly. This, everything just happened step by step. And he started telling me about this headache and I asked him the same question. I said, you were listening to the music? He said, yeah, I tried to listen to it, but the headache is so bad, So I told him why I called and what happened, and he was pretty excited about it as well. So after that, he now decided to try to clean up his eating habits as well.
So is it okay to say that when the pineal gland is cleansed, if you what the Father wanted to do, you get clearer vision?
You get clearer, yes, you get clearer visions. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm saying, is it okay to say that as you eat properly, your connection with the Father is better because you can, when you see things in spirit, it actually happening on the how to say? In real. It really can happen in real. When Abraham was going and lie down to sleep against his fighting down, I done.
So this is just my testimony as to what started happening to me as I began to clean myself up. And then I said, well, this thing like it really works. And after, because I was only doing it for like 40 days. And after the 40 days, I was like, okay, I'm done with this. And then I don't know, I didn't hear audible voice, but something said, I felt a download that said, no, you need to keep on. And so some other little things have started happening that I could see, and it got me kind of scared, but still thanking God at the same time for his knowledge and what he has begun to download in me.
Question. I was going to ask about it, but you kind of mentioned it already. You know, there's a fad with this early morning, lemon and lime in water and stuff like that. And then you said allow it to stay in the water as long as possible.
Yeah.
Is the lime considered acidic?
Turns the water alkaline.
No, I just want to put it out there because if you don't understand that, you're not going to make the link in seeing how something acidic becomes good for your body when you're trying to not put acid or keep acid levels low. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, if acid is on one scale, and then you're going to put a lot of more sugar, suppose it's at 7, bringing that part of your health to a better level, and you keep on putting sugar all the time, what does it do there?
I don't understand the question.
People, you're suggesting to people to squeeze lemonade into the water, to squeeze lime into the, don't squeeze
It's
lemonade.
not like a whole set of lime.
Right, it's just 2 squeezes?
Just a couple of squeezes to get that.
Right, but sometimes you see a lot of people might go ahead and buy some drink
Right.
with that same lime, the same sugar, and they just drink thinking that it's healthy.
No, but it's not. It will still keep the body in an acidic state. So you can use like honey, you can use agave, which is what I've been using, honey and
Right,
various
exactly.
and that has helped me a great deal because even though I've been exercising in about 3 months now, but we recently started back, and someone asked me how you manage to keep the weight off and you're not exercising, and I just told them that I'm still maintaining my plant-based diet. It's not, and I'm always full. It's not that hard. I don't go hungry on this diet at all because I'm eating.
Right. So the health conscious vibe is really giving more life to your body than anything else.
Of course.
Yeah.
And when I lay on my back now, I don't feel as though my throat is being locked off. I can breathe properly lying down on my back, and my nostrils have cleared up. So there's a lot of things I can attest to with this particular lifestyle.
Okay.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
When I was looking into it, the pineal gland, I was very shocked to see research way back in the 60s about the connection of the pineal gland and the immune system. And one of the things that I realized that they were researching was the use of the hormone that secretes melatonin to treat cancer. So after like the aggressive initial treatment, I think they then put the patients on the melatonin to prevent secondary tumors from growing back. So that's how serious it was, not only with the cancer, but okay, and this research from the 60s, early 70s, that was connected to a university in Hungary, the genetics arm of the university in Hungary. There were also papers that were kind of buried when they were talking about it, when it's functioning optimally, how it can help fight off HIV. And that one was the real brow raiser because it then made me go back to Dr. Seavey's diet and research. And I know a lot of people thought that he was being really cocky when he said that he can cure anything. And there was all the information out about somebody that had HIV or AIDS that he had cured. I don't know if you remember about that. Like way back, and the person actually went back and got tests done, and there was a lot of confusion because people were wondering how he got it done. So I just feel like as believers, we need to be a lot more aware. We need to do a lot more research on health and our bodies and how we are really supposed to take care of it.
I think there's one more slide. Another question? February. This Hebrew word here is Peniel. Now when I was doing this research, I've read
Genesis 32:30 before, but I've never really understood what it meant. In Genesis 32:30, this is where Isaac fought with the angel. And then he called the place Peniel, because he saw God face to face. He saw the face of God. And I was like, when the guy was talking about it, I was like, I read that before and I can't recall seeing that word before. And I had to go back to look at the word to realize that the reason why he called the place Peniel was because he was he was able to see a spiritual being, which was the angel of God. So even in biblical days, they knew what it was for. And now I will turn it over to Shai.
Thank you, nurse. So we get it from a medical point of view. Let me see what Sister Cheryl would bring.
So we see that when mom tells us to go on a fast, a plant-based diet fast or diet for a period of time, it is for a heavy purpose. And she would have started to mention about Abraham before, but when we look at the men of old, and I was thinking about Abraham and Sarah, y'all remember the scene where the angel came, Abraham picked up that the angel actually came, he actually had direct conversation with this angel. We are supposed to function on that same level, but because our pineal gland is blocked, we cannot function on that level. We get small pieces when we do a fast, and half the time the fathers will say, urge us to do a fast, or we do a fast when the pastor say, are we doing a fast? But we don't understand the power that we have by keeping our pineal gland unblocked. I don't know if Natalie had a picture with the gland being calcified, meaning it's blocked, or right, and it's decalcified, and it being decalcified. Okay. Right, so this gland is referred to as the seat of the soul. The seat of the soul. People that really understand the level and the power behind this gland. It is our direct communication between the Father and us. As Natalie would have mentioned before, you will have persons in the dark, in the satanic realm. They understand. I know the other day that I brought the scripture, but I know why I bring it, right? I know you, Pastor May, had mentioned it was something from before, but I like to bring it in light with these kind of things. The scripture that said, the Father looked down and see that his children, that the children of darkness was more enlightened than his own children. And to me, that's still going on today. You understand? The Father looking down from heaven every day and saying that the body of Christ is in darkness. You understand? And the children of darkness is more enlightened than his own children. And we are supposed to be more enlightened. But the church is very stiff-necked, as we know. You try to tell them about this. I hope all of y'all grab this today and run with it. It's not easy to change diet, but you make a start. It's not that hard. People say it's expensive to be big. It's not that expensive. If you really want to do something, you can do it. You know what? Most people wait till they come to the point of near death, or they get real sick and the doctor tells them you gotta come off the meat. You think the doctors don't know that? About the pineal gland and the importance of it, but I think the stance of the doctors is that it don't make any sense telling people because they can eat it anyway. They can eat the food anyway. Alright, so we don't have that one, so Jessica will go around and show y'all an image of the pineal gland being blocked and it being unblocked. being decalcified. But it's, this one. Okay, this one is just a decalcified gland. Right. Oh, a calcified gland. When it's, yeah, it is coated with something and it blocks so much. Even to receive messages from heaven, to receive a word. Sometimes we're praying for months, years, and wonder why we can't hear a word. Your pineal gland is blocked. Right? And the only way you can unblock the pineal gland is eating a certain way. Cutting out the meat, eating more plant-based, and stuff like that. The pineal gland is also referred to as the human's sixth sense. So we have 5 senses that we always deal with, but it's also referred to as the sixth sense. And that sixth sense is way more powerful than all the other 5 senses that we have. In my own experience, going on the diet a while back with some others, I would have mentioned it before already. I didn't know what I was going to expect. I don't know if I would just send mom on this, or to have some of us do this diet a couple of years ago. And while I was on this diet, I think it was a 3-week diet, and I think it was the end of the second week going into the 3rd week. I was at work and I'm a person that always feeling lethargic and tired and everything. No sugar, no meat, no flour. That was it. Everything, all that out, right? So I was basically eating item food, doing shakes and that type of stuff. And I was at work and I had an experience where I just really feel something like a burst inside of me. And I had energy. It was an unusual energy that I never experienced in a long, long time. Probably had it when I was a child. I can remember having this energy, right? And I know there are other persons as well that had other experiences as well. But if you go on this diet, you would not. If you choose this lifestyle, your spirituality will be so high. And another thing that used to happen to me as well is I started to see like crazy. Like I will be sleeping. As soon as my head hit the pillow and my eyes shut, I start to see. It was on another level. Okay, Sister Michelle, you have something to say?
I just want to say I went sometime when the pastor indicated that ministers please go on this diet. So Kival and I went on the diet, joined with you and other people who did. And Kival had a serious clean out. And me too, because that was like from the time he reached home, it was a flushing completely out of his system. He was in pain, but it was coming out wherever it was. He was like the tox.
Yes. I had the same experience
and I could see a change in his face, his appearance. But now again, he had to go on it again because even he is being constant pain, especially at night, and can't sleep properly. I cannot sleep properly either, right? So when you always saying about, when I'm not, you was explaining about the turning and the tossing, the coughing, and we have experienced that, he and I, so I know it is not.
It also allows you to manifest things easier when you are at that level. Now he was telling me about a guy that was describing, he's not even a Christian, he was describing his experience, and his experience was he just went on a journey decalcifying his pineal gland. Because I guess he started to learn about it. And his experience was that when he got so afraid with his experience that he started eating meat. he didn't want to see no more. And he started to see, because a lot of the Satanists and stuff like that would actually protect their homes and stuff like that, they would sit down, go into meditation, do all kind of strange breathings, half puff and all kind of things to activate this thing, and their spirit shoot out of their body and they go roaming while they're sitting down. That's how they do it. But you are not supposed to. That's a demonic thing. You are not supposed to sit down and try to do it yourself. Naturally, when you start to eat this way, naturally you will start to see in the spirit realm. You will start to see angels literally walking with you. Have you got some experiences? I know she's interested to share. But as Nami said, she was on this diet for long enough. Right? So, right. Let me get back on track. Right. So right now I want to go into Matthew chapter 6 verse 22. We just want to read a little bit from there. And it says, the light of the body is the eye. And we have scriptures that speak of the eyes. This is talking about one eye. If therefore thine eye be single, the whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, thine whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? I think that eye is talking about a special eye. Right? Because, let me tell you something. I cannot say enough. When your pineal gland is decalcified, your whole body is affected on a great level by it, and mainly spiritually. Right, so I was telling you all about this guy and his story. He started to have some experiences where he would just end up in the spirit realm, end up certain places. He would start walking somewhere and he would end up somewhere seeing some real sweet, pretty environments and stuff. I don't know exactly why I explain it. I think what the guy was saying was that his first experience was he was walking with his friends and he just saw there was by a fountain and the fountain froze. And he's asking his friends, do y'all see that? Because the fountain is frozen, and they're looking at him like he's crazy, so he just passed it on. But he was scared because it was, to him it was something that was real, that was happening. Another time he was going somewhere and everything went dark. And then when he started to see, he saw an ocean and he saw orbs going around in circles, and he said it wasn't like a frightening experience. It was very beautiful, but he realized this is not for him. So he said, I stopped. Basically, when he said he stopped decalcifying, basically what he was saying, well, I started back eating my stuff. I'm not into that anymore, because he wasn't even bathing with normal tap water. That's how bad it was. He was bathing with the same bottled water that we drink. If he used the bathroom, he would wash his hand with that pure water, because he wanted to experiment to see what everyone was talking about. So when the experiment got too real, he stopped. So he said, anybody else who wanna do it, I'm not against you, but if you enjoy this life and you enjoy your friends and your family, it's not for you.
I have an experience, right? Alright, I had experience witchcraft on a serious level, right? If a woman from St. Lucia, so I was just defending my mother, and me and her, we got in an altercation. Not me and her, but her boyfriend actually, which is my family. We got in an altercation. So ever since after that, my life wasn't the same, right? So it became my spirit that someone is tampering with my spirit, right? So then like a couple weeks passed after that. I felt that void, that something is happening to me in spirit, right? I received an attack on my life. It's like I saw something like an eye floating in my bedroom, and as I saw that, I lost my mind. You know what I'm saying? And like, even to this day, like, because even to this day, like, that actually like open, it also might the same time, but it can open like a door for me, because like I have like, so like, what you call it third eye? That, but I ain't know for me it ain't good. Honestly, I want to get rid of it, right? But I understand things like I actually like for me, right? Like everything done, and I like see things from a mile away. So I drop in my spirit that something can happen, and it actually manifests like that.
But that's nothing bad. Everybody have this third eye that they put that term to. I don't know if you was ever really showed the images. Right. Every one of us came into the world with one of those. And it's not a third eye, it's called a pineal gland. It's a special gland that actually, once it's activated, once it's dealt with properly and taken care of, you have direct communication, you have a clearer communication with the Father about spiritual things.
Yes, they need, right. My understanding has been deepened. Meaning that I see things from how people think inside the box, it's outside the box. So alright, it's like a traumatic situation happening and everybody crying and fussing. For me now, like I will look at everybody and just break down everything, and like just like it's so powerful. Like I'll be able to like map out every situation, the root of it, and then figure out how and like decide how it will move. But I'll go to like be calm and do it. But if we get involved in the same environment, like become flustered too, or lost sight of what you need to see, I want to stay calm and let everything work out and see it from a different perspective. It works out. It works out better, a lot better.
And if it's an ungodly experience and something that you see that allow you to see unclean things or whatever, you would need deliverance from that.
Because at first it was unclean things.
It was?
Yes,
right.
It happened in 2017, but it's 3 years now since it happened, right? So like now, I don't like see unclean that as much as that, and I just see things from like a more choice perspective.
It still could be a gift that you have, but it's just that it needs to be, you need deliverance from what happened, so that you can operate in the godly perspective.
And similar to him, in 2001, I traveled to Africa and got into some warfare with some of these demons and astral projection.
Right.
And I had to get deliverance from spirits that was causing to see not the right things, the wrong things.
Exactly.
Because the day that you do get the cleansing, even when you guys are here ministering to us, because some people get cleansing from spirits but don't realize that your body's a temple that also needs cleansing in the natural.
Right.
Yeah? And one of the things that you tap into then is that the same gland that you're talking about, that the more you tap into the prophetic ministry, that you get to see what God is showing you, because it's a straight and narrow road, and you don't get distracted then by all the other unbeliefs or all the other spirits that is trying to come and to grab, or actually to, for instance, if this church has windows and doors, so if you have an eye, you have an ear, and you have a mind, and if you don't close certain parts, then you left that door open, and spirits can get in. Even while you're seeing with both eyes and that third eye, that what they call the third eye, but it's really your mind, or the spiritual realm.
Yeah, so you covered Matthew, or you?
Yeah, because, alright. The way it's so perform working, the more I draw to God, alright. What he said is so true and profound. I mean, like, the more that I draw to God, the more that I receive messages, but clear. It don't be like foggy.
Right.
But once like I have doors that open, I mean, like still, there's still a gateway that these things could operate through. But it's not that open anymore to them. But it's still some more things that can go out. But I realized that God is actually using this gateway to give me straight and clear messages. Because I can sit down and analyze someone, but
all every gift that you have.
Shalom to everyone. I just have a couple of things to say quickly. Now, in reference to everything that have been said, if you remember, you had Balaam, right? Who was noted as a prophet. I mean, put it that way. But if you study the life of Balaam, there's not a great deal that is said, but the notable things that are said. Balaam was a prophet, but Balaam also used to dabble in witchcraft. So, yes, you can see visions or what's not and see all these things, but it can be from the satanic realm. There are people who, and this is what needs to be understood, there are people who are in what we call Christendom, or in the church, that are trying to operate, or rather should say operating on both sides of the fence. On one hand, they are prophets and declaring the word of Yah and so on and preaching. But then on the other hand, they are dabbling in witchcraft and so on. And you may say, well, how can that be? But look at Balaam. Balaam talked to the Father directly. The Father spoke to Balaam. But this same Balaam is who the Father told Moses, deal with Balaam for the wickedness and things that he was doing, because Balaam was still dealing with witchcraft on the side. So we have to understand that people have a choice to decide whoever you yield yourself to, you become a servant to. Whether to the flesh to do unrighteousness, or whether to the spirit to live a life that is godly in the sight of Yah. So I just bring that reference to show you that it can happen. There are people who are in the house of Yah, who the enemy just mess with, and they believe that all these things that they're seeing is coming directly from Yah, and it is Satan that working with them. So that is when you got to test the spirit and see which spirit it is that operating, that's speaking to you, that working with you. Because it's not that's what the scripture bluntly states. Not in every spirit that is of Yah. You got to try these spirits to see who is who. Because anybody can come and tell you, well, this can happen tomorrow or that can happen. But it is the spirit that must bear witness. And if you have the spirit of Yah, you can know the difference. But if you don't have the spirit of Yah, that's how the palm readers and the crystal ball people and all these people that are dealing with the Ouija board and stuff are able to convince people, because people, they're able to say, well, this is going to happen, and it happens. It happens. But we have to understand it is not from the Father, so we got to be able to differentiate the difference between the two.
And from the moment you start to fast, the Father told me once that fasting is put you in survival mode. I told my people that we had a discussion, Bible study one time. Fasting is actually put you in survival mode. And when you understand that, when you link fasting with the brain being, the pineal gland being decalcified, you have a better understanding of why the Father wants us to fast, why we ain't here. And that's the only way we can survive on this earth, from with these demons. Right? And the more we do it, right now, the dark realm, like the Satanists and them have an upper hand over us. And we didn't even understand, but we didn't even study with pineal gland first to begin with. And then people don't fast like a habit, like every day. So if people's fasting make it a habit once a week to fast naturally before we even understand about the pineal gland, you still actually gonna be a little better place, right? But now you have a better understanding of the gland, eating properly. The Satanists has not even mentioned before. If they're eating normal, something they'll eat normal, but they understand that when they want to get an assignment carried out, they will go on that vegan diet for some weeks to get that assignment carried out, because they understand about decalcifying the pineal gland. Yeah, like she said, sometimes a whole month they will go on this thing, because they know that they want them channels clear for the spirit realm. So when they go into their little huffing and puffing with the legs crossed, which is demonic, that they have a clear path for their spirit to shoot out. Well, you understand it shoot up on top of the head. I never had the experience. But if you have a question.
the question I want to ask, right? I understand everything about the pineal glands and the eating and stuff like that, right? But one of the things, the question I would like to ask is, what about the water? Could the water affect the pineal gland, or is it specific water you gotta use or stuff like that?
Some people believe that, even like regular tap water, some people believe that it does because of the calcium deposits in water, because they do put calcium in the water also, just like to help keep it purified and whatever. But what happens is the gland, the calcium deposit, it draws calcium easily. So anything you use with calcium, it little bit goes to that area for some reason. It just goes to that area. That's why it becomes calcified. So it could be even from your toothpaste, from, but if you, like how I said, I boil my water and let it sit for like 12 hours, and you can see all the calcium falling. It has already fell to the bottom of the pot. So when I throw off my water, you can actually scoop out the calcium with your fingers, very thick and white.
Okay.
And that's how because I didn't want to spend so much money on bottled water, and then I squeeze mine.
Okay, thank you.
Fluoride. Fluoride is also. Alright, so, right, it's called the eye of Horus. Again, I'm working hard this Right, Horus is the falcon-headed god. We speak, if we remember the Egyptians and the pharaohs and them, the thing they used to wear on the head, right, with the snake and everything, all that was tied in there with the pineal gland and everything. Horus is a falcon-headed god. He is a familiar ancient god. He has become one of the most commonly used symbols of Egypt, seen on Egyptian airplanes and hotels and restaurants throughout the land. And you will see this. If you haven't seen it, you've probably seen it in a movie at least. But in different countries, you will see this. Horus is the son of Osiris and Isis, the divine child of the Holy Family Triad. He is one of many gods. His name is associated with the falcon. Actually, we need the pineal gland to actually work with our eyesight, as Navi would have mentioned earlier. It is more powerful, as I explained, than all the other senses that we have. So I would urge you all, everybody, to try to start changing your diet. I always tell people a green smoothie, and it keeps the parasites away. All of us have parasites. People have deep levels of parasites that affect your brain. Sometimes they change your mood and everything. Sometimes you don't even know why you always antsy, why you always this, why you always that. Parasites taking over your body. So a green smoothie, kale, spinach, celery, you could drop a banana in it. You don't even need extra sweetener if the banana is sweet enough for you. But yeah, you can use the almond milk, or you can just use water if you choose to, or if you use juice, some orange juice. And if you can start your day with a green smoothie, you'll be so good. And from there, you just make a start. Everything will happen overnight. You make a start and start to get your body right. And over time, if you're really interested in really having a direct connection with heaven, because the demonic realm, these people that is astral projecting coming to your houses, our houses, they wouldn't want nothing with us if our pineal gland is calcified. If it's decalcified, sorry. You understand? So we are defeated a lot of times, and we go in circles so much time because we don't understand. We don't understand our what causes our direct connection with the Father. It is blocked. Most of our pineal gland is blocked. And that's how the world would have it. That's how the Illuminati, but they understand. The lodges, they understand about that. So we seem to be People make sport out of Christendom all the time. Because we look like we know what we're doing, we know nothing. We just become a church singing, jumping, doing all kinds of things, but being effective. And as simple as that gland is a special gland that the Father placed there for His purpose for the power of the Father to reign on this earth. The rain if the gland blocked, and the gland being blocked is cause other problems, thyroid problems, and all kinds of things. You understand?
Okay, I just want to say that there's some white people, and most of them is in the masonry, and they have a time when they come to study the pineal gland and the melanin, and black people is not invited. And melanin is from the black people, but they know what our melanin is for more than we do. So when they come and they sit down and they study, these is high society people. The pineal gland, they know good what to feed us with, what to put in our food, that we will always like those side. We just sit down and we just hear but don't hear. We just go to read, but 2 minutes we going off it into something else. And it's like, look, let me go and do this. But then after something happens there, you ain't do it. They study the color of your skin and the melanin, and they try to function and operate with what they get. And the pineal gland too, they know what it is for. So as I say, they will feed you to death. They'll give you all the nice things. Let me tell you something I don't trust, and it's only when I buy it, not buy it. When I got it, I realized I want one real bad. And you all might believe me, right? I could only tell you, well, I know my pineal gland and I block up. And I know when it's unblocked too. Because when it's unblocked, you see a pop. I hear like somebody shoot me in my head like with a gun. Boom! And I jump. And I said, what's that? But then I realized it's something cracked in here. It is decalcified, cover the gland so you can't have connection. But when I get this as a gift, I wanted it real bad, and I got it. Then the Father starts showing me that it is a reason why you get it and why it's so cheap, and that is the air fryer. You know, it have a new air fryer, everybody going at, the black people going at it. It's only when I get it and I open it, I start to use it, the Spirit start to speak to me. Stop it. You see that? That has something in it to mess with you. Yeah, and I, at home, if anybody wants mine, I would sell it to you because I know when the Father speaks to me.
That's supposed to be real help you out.
Yeah, but no. It's something in it. It's something in it.
Something.
Right, so you're meant to tell you something. Right now, do I have a permission to speak up a little bit? The microwave in your house does help mess up your pineal gland. The microwave you have that you can't do without mess you up. It takes all the nutrition out of the food. You ain't getting nothing when you put that in it takes out the nutrition. Not only the microwave, but it's good. You see, the Father said, what they take to do for evil, it will turn around to be good. I am telling you something. Right now, I don't want to go into that, but they are finding ways, and they're talking about it, which I can send, and you all can send to everybody. Google knows all your business. And Justin Trudeau from Canada, I have it, he said, you think that we wouldn't find you? Google doesn't know where you is already, because he's saying you love to give Google all your information. I can send it to you, listen to it. And Trudeau is one of the most dangerous men for the empire. But I just want to tell you all this, back to the microwave. With the microwave, what they do for they find a way to hunt it down. By telling you all plain. When you wrap your phone in foil paper, not even Google could find you. If you have the phone open, they will find you. But try it. When you go home, internet, put on the internet and fold up your phone in newspaper, in foil paper. Fold it nice, make sure all the edge closed. It cut, everything cut. When you open it, you will see it coming back and you see the circle going on searching for internet.
But just before do I speak, this is to what Mom was saying about the food industry. These people are on an agenda. And it's amazing because they would have you eat all the highly processed foods. But do you know that some of those same Satanists do not eat processed foods at all? They don't eat half of the foods that they put out in the supermarket for the public to eat because they understand. They understand that if I eat that, the divine connection I have to the satanic realm, I won't have it anymore. They understand that, but we don't, and we are so addicted to certain snacks and certain drinks and foods, and we give it to our children as young as they are. I mean, it's bad enough that God getting shots, food shots and dish shots, and then on top of that, you're giving them the cheesies and the tea time biscuits and everything that is processed with a lot of chemicals in it. And so, from young, you begin to block up the kids from a very, very young age. And when, as they get older, like us, then they now have to fend for themselves when it comes to having a direct connection to Christ, because we, sometimes we don't even find time to even teach them how to connect as young kids. So everything that we do, everything that we eat, everything goes hand in hand, and we need to remember before we put anything in our mouth that Satan has an agenda. He has an agenda. You have to ask yourself, am I going to be a part of that agenda? When Dwight is finished, I want Tammy to speak on the foods, on what they do with the foods.
Alright. Definitely, I know the mic, but when I was going through the car, I was speaking to me about the air fryer. He said, stop buying everything that is hypnotized with on the market. They're bringing things, all the new things they're bringing to run is a hypnotism that's run for it because it looks good and it sounds good. So he said, it's like, did you ask me to use this? Did you ask me if it's good? No. Just go in like, if I need a gun block, so we'll be hypnotized, so we go in so. I want it, you understand?
Yeah, and sharing all of this, when you even look back as far as the 60s and the 70s, when folk then had microwave and then had all of this stuff, a lot of folk were eating healthier and living longer. However, not all of them were not necessarily pressing into the realm of the spirit as they should while they were living long. I don't know if you guys recognize that. Now that we have a release to prosper, I don't know if you recognize that this is where we are being attacked. Now that, let me say for the black people in general, because as I said, when I had the opportunity to travel to South Africa for the time period, I find that they would, however they could fight you, they used it. So for the time you as Christian, you guys were mentioning what the Christians don't do it, but I had to ask the Holy Spirit just now. So how comes then that we are Christians, why aren't we prospering, or why don't we have this education to tap into the realm of the Spirit the way how we're supposed to? Why are these people all of a sudden learning how to eat healthy, learning how to do everything right, but doing it for the wrong? And we as those that are called by God, is it a case that when we do prosper, we still go and buy a car, we go and buy this, but we are not really looking out for each other? Or we are not really tapping into the realm of the Spirit to fight off some of these same spirits? So I think that one of the issues is that when in Mom days or her family before, when they were eating healthy and were some of the strong people on the earth, when the whites came down and had everybody in slavery, and we can even use the similarities or parallel it back to Egypt, because when the children of God, the Israelites, were sent into Egypt, what did the Egyptians have to do? Sometimes tap into the wrong spirit to even get them under control, right? Because they were walking in a level of humility. And so my question is, now that this revelation here is being unfolded, because I believe that God would have sent people, just like how we are being taught about it, send people to preach to his other children, but are they listening? Are they listening? Because if you tell somebody stop eating this and stop eating that in order to progress in life, in order to tap into God or to fast, you could preach this for probably 20 years and some things people still are not hearing. So they are not hearkening to the word of the Lord. So you'll be surprised that God speaks something so simple. Because I'm sitting down here, I'm hearing all of this, but I'm still asking, so what Christians are doing it then? If it's that simple to eat healthy, no, you can. Don't declare that you can. You can. So then, do we need to pray for each other's obedience, or probably? So the question. This is my real question, because I'm hearing all of this, and instead of just only being educated, I'm asking Holy Spirit, what then do I do with this information? Because if you guys speak to me about prosperity, I know how to go out and probably help a few others. If you guys speak to me about healing, I know how to go and probably pray for someone. Why is it then that you're telling me to clean up my heart, clean up my mind, yeah, so that I can and fast and stuff like that? Why am I not doing this? Or what spirit fighting me to stop me from progressing in that area? So what do we as a church need to do to teach this more? That's the question I have for you guys.
Well, there's the reason for these sessions, so that we could be.
So what does it mean? I'm asking after someone is equipped. Tabal is muscular, right? No, this is using the spiritual and the natural and music parallel. Tabal is muscular. After you train, because instead of now walking, go posing like a couple six with the muscularity, he uses it for the right purposes, right? So then that's what I'm saying, that, and maybe I've been guilty of it, that after God has been telling me for so many years, unless I go eat properly, right? Or then when I started properly going fast, then when I started doing, maybe then it's when my eyes start opening a bit, or the scales actually get removed off the eye. So you'd be surprised that yes, sessions like this probably happened before, but people just weren't obeying things. Is that it? Yeah. Right, so with that being said, I am asking Almighty then, since He knows all things, how or what is the next step also? While this is happening, I'm asking God to connect that here. There's one thing I want to do. I want to not just share, but educate them on a whole other level that you know, understand what I'm saying? I'm asking you for the anointing, because that's what I'm saying. We pray for anointing for healing. Right after we get sessions, we pray for anointing for prosperity, ask and pray God, but you know what? Bless me, Lord, that I may prosper and do well. Do we have the same zeal? That's the truth. Do we have the same zeal? Because we can say, well, session this and session that, but then sometimes maybe the zeal is not here. Because the zeal according to knowledge. And you understand what I'm saying? So we really need to pray the seal then.
I think we as human beings can't make another human being do anything.
I mean force.
But I know what I'm saying is that we are supposed to go out there and still plant that seed. And then you leave the Holy Spirit then to do what He has to do, but you have planted the seed.
So do we watch then how it grows?
Exactly, but if not everyone is going to grow ever.
Agree, because I do farming. So you know what, everything you plant will come up, but I'm gardening. You see what I'm talking about gardening? I find that sometimes we don't follow up on a person.
Alright.
Because the lodges, for some reason they know how to share and care and take care of each other. That if me and her are playing football, I know how to tell her how to hand the walk up, how to do this, to watch it grow. So I'm just asking, do we Do we do enough in the world and to each other continuously? Do we do it or no?
And another thing, this is a very touchy topic because you can get me to even sit down and listen to this kind of thing for a moment because I came up being indoctrinated that this is a wicked thing. But it is not because every one of us have one. Again, go online, go and look up the biology of the brain, whatever you see. We all have one of that in here. But as I said earlier, Satan will always take what God has created and turn it into something filthy.
Yes.
This is what has happened over the past couple of years. So, and I think it was like an agenda because it keeps us away. It's like, I don't want to hear that that's witchcraft. I don't want to hear what you have to say because this is what we learned it to be. And we see people who aren't in witchcraft, we see them with these symbols and stuff taken, oh my God, the Eye of Horus and all this kind of thing. But they took, like this, these are my fingers. It's like, okay, we know their fingers, but Satan is going to take it and say, okay, these are not fingers, these are actually toes. So we come up believing that these are toes, but they're actually fingers.
My people are destroyed. I wouldn't know the scripture.
I know my friends talk, alright? Let me just say as well, let me drop this in here as well. When you go there, when we leave here and we go and try to explain this to somebody, everybody might not know what to start to explain it. So if I tell you talk about this, somebody might say, I don't want to hear that. Or you might get enough in and then they might shoot you down still. At the end of the day, that is a seed that is planted. Even if you don't, even if they won't hear you after that, later down the road, you finally open another way that they hear it from somebody else again. And then they remember you tell them about it. And they remember the little that you tell them. So don't worry, just plant the seed. If they won't hear, you know they will hear it again. Pray that you probably send somebody else to keep watering the seed. You start the process, somebody else can finish it.
I just want to say a few things. We're talking about the pineal gland, and what I would say, the question I would like to ask, right, is there anything that could affect our pineal gland by applying it on our bodies and stuff like that, or only by eating? I'm going to say some things.
In a good way, in a bad way?
In a bad way. Yeah, because I want to say some stuff, but I just...
Like one can affect it in a bad way, like probably if you have a condition or a disorder or something. You mean in terms of food and stuff? Okay.
Or your skin.
On your skin. Tommy was talking about applying specific products because everything we use, we have chemical.
Yeah.
Everything.
I'm going to say something, right? And when I speak, who disagree with me could raise their hand, because one of the things that I've been asking the Father for is wisdom, right? And to be honest, right, there are some things that the Father showed me, right? For example, I try not to use milk. I try my best, because how I just do my milk, I just take the coconut and spin it in the NutriBullet, then squeeze it, and you put it in whatever I want to use, and this only milk I will try to use. And some of the things is going to sound real weird to people, because for example, one of the things that you should not even bathe with soap, you should not use toothpaste, you should not put your phone to your ears, and you should not wear your phone in your pocket. It's so many things that I could go on and on and on, and it would sound strange, but when I get a phone call and I answer my phone, I put it on speaker and I put it away and talk, because the Father don't give me the wisdom what to do.
To the phones, I do agree with that, because even while listening to some of these new agers, they talk about when they go into astral projecting, they tell you even take off your phone because the waves and the vibration of the phone affects the waves and the brain waves and the frequency. So they need to be able to astral project without this, the frequency of this interfering with their astral, with our frequency, so they can. And remember, we are mostly water, and this affects that a lot. So what you're saying is right, and if the witchcraft knows this, then we should also know it too.
Okay.
The elite and government and them and having the big meeting, they just tell all the rest of them, put your phone in the microwave. signal. They can't pick that up. So you see, the time you go and put it like when you press it, you can't hear the chances of that. Before you let it, wherever they have it, the frequency is dropped off.
Alright, let me get this in quick because it don't take running, right? I remember when we, I think it was with me, when we was showing in sanitation days. Listen, anybody ever saw the Hebrew alphabet before it was letters? Anybody ever saw the Hebrew? Someone pronounce the H. Anybody ever saw the Hebrew alphabet before it became letters? Everybody know it was a picture graph first, right? He was with me, the name was by, right? And one guy pointed out, so isn't that the higher Horus? So why is it good for the Hebrews and bad for the Egyptians?
Yes. Yes.
In the Hebrew alphabet.
Yes.
They have an idea, right? So he said, isn't that all seen, right? So why it is good for the Hebrews and bad for the Egyptians? That's the question that was asked. At that point, I wasn't in a position to answer it.
Where can I say no?
I wasn't in a position at that time because I never went. And so from back then is when curiosity was arose. When he asked that question, and I wasn't in a position to answer it. But no, if somebody had asked me that, I would be in a position to answer it, right? Now, when you go into the scriptures, you realize that the people that had a close connection with the Father eat a certain way. Anybody ever realize that? When you go into the scriptures and you realize that the people that had a close connection and a clear connection, not just close, clear, let me say it the other way, a clear connection had a certain day. So Daniel 1 is one of the main things we look at, right? So when and you read it now because you know it's a long time, right? But in Daniel 1, when Daniel charged up the 3 Hebrew boys, when they came, when they bring the meat and the wine and everything to them to eat, they said, no, we don't want that. We just want water and vegetables. And you not the chief, you not say, no, we can't eat that there because if we eat that there, they can't get the vegetables with me, and then me want to cut off my head because I make these servants look bad. And then they said, okay, let's test me. Let's test me. We can let's let me do that. It was 10 days, right? And he said, let me do that for 10 days. And if you see me looking different and looking more skinny than the rest of the people that eating all the meat and thing, then you will eat what we all want me to eat. So after that time period, when you notice that they were in scriptures, they were looking more healthier and fitter than all the rest of the people that was eating the meat and the wine and everything else. And then say, okay, I can let them continue eating what we want, right? How did Yahushua eat? Think about it, how did Yahushua eat? John the Baptist eat locusts and honey. Locusts and honey. So, but how did Yahushua eat? Anybody? How did Yahushua eat? Nobody know it? Nobody know? Some boys say he fasted 40 days and 40 nights. So when he fast 40 days and 40 nights, that means it will be clear no. You can't got nothing blocking that. It's definitely clear if you fast 40 days and 40 nights. But you know what? The scripture always say that he was a Nazarite. I hear, the scripture says he was a Nazarite. And Nazarite is a certain way. So if the scripture says he's a Nazarite, then you know he ain't eating no meat. You know he ain't drinking no wine. He ain't eating no meat, he ain't drinking no wine. He never eating nuts. He ain't eating nothing that grows from the vine. So there's only Nazarite. So he eat nothing that grows on the vine. The chips and kernels and stuff. What's the kernel? What's the kernel?
Green, you said no grapes.
What?
They said nuts. That's what you want, right?
You want me reading as right quick for you?
I know it.
No.
Verse 6.
You're right. Go and read it.
But it said grapes, it said nuts.
Go and read it.
You know it's great.
What's the question she have?
Huh? No, she was talking about the kernels in nuts. So reading as right quick. Number 6. Everybody go and read number 6. Number 6. Everybody read number 6. So you will know the idea of who should eat. Right? Even when Moses was up in the mountain giving the commandments, he was up there 4 days and 4 nights to work without eating anything, right? It's not mean that I'll be real clear again. But for you to last that long, it's only the Father can keep you that long. Because you not yourself can't go fast 4 days or 4 days, you would dead. And then you think you would die. Right? But I was reading Exodus again this morning. Exodus, what the books they took out. And everything Exodus asked some questions. He was praying and asking some questions. And the angel came to Exodus and said, all right, I want you to fast. And then I get back to you. At the end of the fast, I come back to you. At the end of the fast, you know the angel tell you to fast? Because you need to clear up. Get rid of the stuff from off of it. Because we understand the importance of fasting, you know. And when the angel came and talked to him, the angel gave him some information. He started asking some more questions. The angel tell you, okay, go and fast now, we can then come back again. Seriously, we gotta do that. We gotta do that scripture. The angel actually tell you go and fast another week. That time he Nehemiah come now and say, look, when you looking so bad and you let you forget all the people and you ain't like you join up with yourself, you fasting, you ain't only got people to take care of, right?
So a question.
Yes.
So some people when they live a fasted life, they begin to see more in the realm of the spirit.
Yes. Yes.
Definitely.
Yes. Because you know what? It's the connection between you and the Father, but people use it for no reason.
You know what they used to say? When they fast, that let's say when they finish fast, they used to talk about what happened, and the minister used to say they were traveling. The spirit was traveling, right? And when the spirit traveled, it traveled away on the path that they are wanting to go, and it show you, and then God begin to show you what's going on around within. Look, when it said get it so, let us jump up and it makes sense. Because before I get set the other day, Father Chuck, no, I see the rock walking up and down. I saw the rock, I know it was the rock, walking up and down my road. And I was walking up in here for. And then after that, it's like after I realized she wanted to get my attention. So then I see her sitting on her chair and grating an onion and she cannot be watching me. So when she does grate the onion, what comes to my mind, the father will show you all things and you don't get up grate the onion and eat it. When I get up and I grate the onion, I try to swallow it and I won't bother it. So I have to take little pieces and swallow it and bring it morning. Next day I went to the man who was dealing with my body and everything. And he said, here what I want you to do for me. I want you to break a small onion every morning and eat it. And I said, so you the woman that walk in up and down in my room and you do so over and I have to explain things. So he does come, he does teach you all what to use for your health, and he does just say, I had a dream. And he does. You don't follow instructions. So we need to follow instructions.
Right, so I just want to read this line here. I know that you want to speak the word. And this is the same number 6 that we was talking about just now. So let's read this one. You can read the whole thing when you go. And then you read from 6:4. All the days of the separation shall ye eat nothing that is made of the vine tree, from the kernels even to the husk. Right? So there were certain things that they were prohibited from eating. You understand? So that was it. You go back and.
So first is nuts. I'm asking you.
What was the kernel? When you go to it was they didn't allow to eat that kernel.
So kernel is a nuts?
Alright, we can go into that one thing. Let's take sure. We can go into it.
But that different shows that like so every fasting has a different
Go ahead.
I just want to mention about this guy, I can't remember his name, an ageable man, he's do some heavy fasting and he lived that kind of lifestyle as well. And he had a testimony where he was in his room praying, he was spiritual to start to pray and stuff like that. And while praying right there in real time, he was translated to another country, can't remember the country, and he went, you see where these big boys are chained? You remember the story, right? Where the big boys are chained, the fallen angels, where they are chained, he actually was teleported right there. I can't remember the rest of the story, but that is the level that we get to when your pineal gland is calcified, decalcified. And this isn't even like nothing to go fasting yet, so you can imagine when you couple it with fasting. It's all over. Because he's not the first person here talking about being translated from one place to another. The same guy that he was talking about. He was walking, he started to see something. He saw something froze. Nobody else around him and see it because his spiritual eye wasn't open. And he wasn't even a Christian. And he was experiencing some real time. He was having some real time experiences, right? That was scaring him. The last one scared him so much that he said no with that. He had the experience and that was it. But as a child of the Most High, we have this understanding. We know the damage it will do to actually walk this path and to live this life. He didn't have that understanding. So, but we know, we are accustomed pastor, we are accustomed seeing the spirit realm, we are accustomed having dreams and visions and understanding prophecy and all these kind of things. So it should not be nothing scary to us, right?
Alright, so he said he's translated me, that's tell a story.
Yes, he didn't have to do nothing. You know that how we talked about earlier, the Satanists is actually sit down and meditate first and do all kind of deep breathing to actually go from one place to another for evil. When the Father wants to show you something, if you're on that level, you would end up somewhere else and you don't know how to get there.
You don't have to be great.
Also,
And you didn't have to do it demonically.
their spirit move not in
Right. But sometimes, as she would explain with the same guy too, when he was in this trance, as you know, like best way to explain it, when he was in this little trance going on, this vision state, right? When he come back to his natural mind and everything, he was not in the same spot he was. He was in the same area, but he was further off. Yeah. Because you're in a different realm at this point, you know. You're in a different realm at this point. Not saying that you may end up somewhere else in this world, like another, you want to end up somewhere else. But your spirit is actually be taken to somewhere else.
That is why the prophets of the world had so
And your
much
body might be moving a bit, but you don't realize that you're walking. You might make some steps forward. You don't know how you get down there. You remember being here.
Just quickly to what Trill said, while listening to one of these New Agers on YouTube, he was saying that he, even from his home, he said he have been around the world already. He teaches how to astral project with the deep breathing and stuff. He said he's been to Paris, he's been to France, he's been to Japan, and they actually meet up with other people who are astral projecting as well, because in this program you're able to see and talk to each other. So he was giving his experiences and he said, you know, we will soon be leaving this earth and you will be able to, and you know, he was talking against the government basically. And he's saying soon we wouldn't even be unhappy with the government because we will be in another dimension altogether. And then he started to talk about all his different, he said he don't even need a passport because he can go anywhere in the world and it's all through astral projecting. But when God takes you places, you don't need to go and astral project and do deep breathing and all of that. God does it in his own time when he is ready.
get ready to wrap up, but I was telling you, I was telling y'all something, but then I switched. Right, I was telling y'all about this story when I live in Christchurch, when these grandmothers move in the area, right? The next time I went to sleep, I never realized they were moving in the area. When I realized they were already in, I didn't see where they're moving. And literally right next door to me, I was like, oh my gosh, like if I have enough battles to play already. The next time I went to sleep, I was like a person that sees for as well when I sleep. So when I went to sleep, I began to see at some point these big eyes. The eyes was this big, right? So when I start to wonder what it is and stuff, the eyes this big, and I'm like, okay. But then I start to feel the uncleanness, and I start to get afraid and move away from this thing, right? And I heard something before I came out to the sleep. It was Egyptology. That's the first time I ever hear that word. The father let me know. I heard Egyptology, so I don't know what to deal with, right? So I can't even go back to sleep that night. And I can't wait to come on the road and ask somebody what Egyptology is and Pastor Menace, who at that time explained, he told me know somebody that was doing that kind of thing, some friend of his father or whatever, and he was explaining to me. I actually had to go on the internet and look up what Egyptology is, because I didn't know at the time what Egyptology, but I know it was real freaking like. And when I explained to Mervyn as well, he told me in Norway probably what happened is usually when they go in an area, they would search out the area to see who else, probably they'd be doing that kind of thing or whatever, they search out the area. So he said, he told me that I probably saw when they were probably looking. So I bought them. And the thing is, these things happen to me, right? And I didn't even at that level where your brain decalcify and all this. You can imagine where your brain already calcify. You can see them moves though, you can see what they're doing, you can be able to counterattack them moves and deal with them to suit and all kind of things. Your prayer life, your spiritual life will be on a whole other level. Pastor, Reverend, want to say something? Oh yeah, just my people before we wrap up.
Sure. No, I was just going to say some of these things may sound far-fetched, especially the astral projecting and the traveling and all these things. But if we really be true to ourselves, these things are in a lot of movies. And everything that is, they're always in some movie in one shape, form, or fashion. So why not believe it? It is so.
We wanted Sammy to just highlight certain things for us. Just another 5 minutes. With the food. Correct. With the food, and just before she starts talking, please, and anybody who never listened to Emmanuel Amos Delivered from Darkness, go and listen to it, please. You'll get deeper understanding. He was deep in this thing. I've talked about that before. So just for those that weren't here, the testimony of the gentleman from the Marine Kingdom that was working for the Marine Kingdom, and he was married to one of the queens from the Marine Kingdom, and his job was supposed to control the movement of food. He was over food and nutrition basically, and after he got delivered out of that, he was just warning people about how they control the food and put things into the food in order to keep people in bondage. There's a certain seasoning found up on his website, and he was playing around with the name of it, but I can't call it because we're recording, but I can tell you after. And it's in the form of a cube, and all of you probably use it to season your food to amplify the taste. And he was warning people not to use that cube. I think without even talking about spirituality, a lot of you should not be using MSG. You can go and research the MSG and how it affects us. But he also talked about the fact that he couldn't believe how believers would not use any discernment when they go into the supermarkets. He talked about the fact that a lot of the land that these markets are set upon have been already dedicated to the satanic realm. And there's so many demons in and around the markets. And he'd be like, how these believers come in and they're not seeing any of these things. in the markets. And as sure rightfully said, some of us are too ignorant. We come in here and they laugh at us, shout, dance, spin around, fall down on the ground, and don't really have any power and authority around the spirit. Don't understand simple things. Don't understand things like diet and nutrition. We don't really, don't understand much, but we keep talking about how powerful this body is and that body is, and to be very honest with you, stop rating people. Ain't nothing to rate. A lot of people that y'all rate are, let me not even say the word. Stop coming. Stop rating people. Everybody have measures of giftings and so on, but where the fight really is, where the battle really is, and where the battles are won, most people ain't nowhere close. Stop rating people, period. I don't care what you say. All that y'all got, seek Yahuwah. Come into personal relationship with Yahuwah so he can really show you what is going on right beside you. Yeah? Y'all interacting with people and places and all kinds of things going on right around you to you. And you don't know because you don't pray before you eat. You don't pray before you go to the supermarket. You do none of those things. You eat anything and everything. And as they rightly say, when somebody try to come and have a conversation with you to tell you about these things, you immediately block them off. I was speaking to a lady last week about something, and when I raised a certain thing, she immediately was like, gone. And I knew exactly what it was, and I just smiled, and I said I'm going to leave her. At least I got her what I wanted to get her, and she could be as distracted as she feels me right now. And it's a demon. It's a spirit. Spirit immediately was like, oh, we're not having this conversation with Tammy. I knew what it was. And I was like, all right, I can leave her for another time. She's supposed to be ever so spiritual. God made me and all kind of things, so I can leave the father's name. A lot of these people that are on the pulpits, cannot have a basic conversation with them about simple spiritual things. You can't have a conversation about them with nutrition, nothing. But they're the most powerful people in the planet, and everybody run behind them and revere them. And a lot of us will do that to our detriment. Some of them, the Father, he's going to pull them out of what they're in. He is doing it right now. He will pull them out from what they're in, but others, people will follow them straight to their destruction. They've already cut off any knowledge. They've already severed any way for people to come and get to them where truth is concerned because of pride. Because they lay hand on somebody and they fall down, nobody can tell them nothing. They're the authority, and some of the most dangerous people to deal with are leaders. Pastors, prophets, apostles, they're some of the most dangerous people you can deal with. When you have a title and you're in charge of so many people, it takes a great level of humility. When you understand leadership for what it is and you understand you're truly a servant, it takes a lot for you to sit down and go like, I was wrong. I had this thing wrong all along. Okay, I need to relearn this. Okay, I need to humble myself. But the way how we revere these people, they're not in a position to get any help. So you will receive revelation, and I was talking about that last week. For years, it was like I was alone. There was no point person that I could have said, all right, Father, time to go on this diet, and nobody else knows what to do, how to get through that. So I fumbled and fought and scrambled for years with this, and it was just all me by myself. So I had to be strong enough that even if my mother didn't doing it, that I couldn't look to her necessarily in that area. And I'm not saying that to make things sound bad, but there's certain people, again, who you revere that can't help you with everything all the time. When you go and study, when you pray, when you're living a fasting lifestyle, and I was like that every week. I shut up twice a week, Wednesday and Saturday, gone. So when I receive it now, you ain't got the way to go. So that's why I tell people, if there's at least one thing that she taught me how to do was how to enter into a personal relationship. That is the one thing that saved me. Because if I didn't have that, you know, it's like if you don't have that, you don't have anything. Anybody could drive you here, there, and everywhere. But anyhow, there's a lot going on with the food. It is direct, it is specific, and it's up to us if we want to heed. They talked about things that are pureed. They talked about certain tomato sauces and purees that they put blood in and all kinds of different things, because you don't have to give consent to covenants and have, you know, operating spells and all these different things. So right there was saying that you need to have a lot of discernment before you go into the market. We're talking about certain meats that are grinded up, that human flesh is in it. So yeah, so it's not that every single thing there is bad, but he said that believers, they don't have any discernment, and most like high level Satanists that get delivered out of darkness, they say the same thing. The believers don't have any discernment. The sacrifices that they make to keep the power that they have in the dark realms, we're not interested. We come to church whatever time we feel like, we eat whatever we feel like, we fast when we feel like, we read the word when we feel like. So we are extremely deficient. So in this time that we're in now, if you want to save, it will make sense to be saved for real, because off the bat, they can make a mess of it. So that's why I say start raping people, because when you see that person fall, you can feel like, well, if they could go after that person, well, who's me? But don't be confused, because charisma does not indicate spiritual rank. Because they can out-talk you, and they're good public speakers, and they got a certain measure of ministry in them, and people drop it down. And some people just plan to drop down. Like, sorry. No. And a study was done on it. There were certain people that came believing that wherever person is to touch them, that something will happen. And there were other people that just walk up, and the person will not fall for nothing. So they're like, what is it? Is it psychology? You plan to fall down. Period. Point blank. Some people just plan to fall. I ain't saying that it could never happen, but psychologically, you see one body dropping, you go and you're already telling yourself, wait, you can't spread it out. No, on a serious note, it's a psychological thing. And guys, this quest for knowledge and not personal relationship is going to run a lot of us in trouble, because we're going to enter into a lot of new age stuff and not be able to know the difference, and not be mature enough to know the difference. And please be careful running places with these healing crusades and all kind of foolishness. Come off the junk food. Do I tell you? Start home, make a plan, and come off the junk food. See all these services, a lot of things getting transferred into people and they don't know. If you monitor these things well enough, half of these people will be worse than the waiting. Half of these people will be worse than the waiting. They're like, don't ignore it. You see, we can do what we got to do at a topic on fruit. If I want something bearing fruit, people go and try to pick from that fruit, and they know that you gotta leave that tree alone. Toxic. You understand? So you gotta be careful. A lot of people, third eye, a lot of people, when they know the hands and stuff like that, they can get opened up. People transfer things into you. Demons go into your brain, go and dug in the same pineal gland, a serpent enter your wrap around your lower spine, and when they come up the neck, you can see all kind of things. So if you in a Marine church, under a Marine pastor, getting on the hands consistently, they keep you bewitched. They keep you bewitched, and a lot of things that you think is anointing is just really familiar spirits. You're not really anointed. So that's why I start off by saying stop raping people and stop running around places and let people touch you and lay hands on you and so on, because they may look really powerful and full of ministry, and they're different spirits, similar results. You gotta be able to tell the difference. So that's it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.